Now, I didn't think that a remap could transform a car as much as it has done this. That's right, welcome to Stef ABtv, welcome to my cheap Brabus. It's not so cheap anymore, is it? I spent quite a bit of money on it. Anyway, it was my cheap Smart Brabus 451, and in this video, I'm gonna take you guys out in my car. It's just been remapped. I've had the engine remapped, and I've also had the gearbox remapped. Now, the company that I chose to go with was a company called Big Performance, and they're based down in Surrey. And I'll leave links in the description below to Ian from Big Performance, who's the guy who did all my mapping, their Instagram account, which you'll see popping up shortly, as well as the email address. So if you do want any products or any remaps for your smart car, then please drop Ian a note in the description below and tell him that I sent you. Tell him that Stef ABtv sent you. So what is it that we've done? So we've remapped the gearbox. So we've got 30% quicker gear shifts, which, as you guys know, when I first got this car, one of the things that I was a bit about was just how terrible the gearbox is. Now look, I'm not saying that this has completely transformed the gearbox, but it's made it significantly quicker, which is more fun. The other bit is the engines being remapped. We've added 30% more horsepower to this. This is now running approximately 130 bhp, and I'll overlay a little bit of a graph here. It's not my car, but it's the exact same spec. It's a Brabus Euro 4, which is producing 131 brake horsepower, and as you can see by the curve, it looks flipping good. So I decided to go with Ian from Big Performance because, well, he's been working on smart cars for about 23 years. He knows them inside out. Whatever you want, he can do, but he specializes in smart tuning. Now, if you have a smart Brabus and you want to get it remapped, there's a couple of things that you probably should know. Let me quickly give you a couple of facts first. This car is a Euro 4 model. The Euro 4 models ran 98 brake horsepower from their 1-litre turbocharged engine. You then got the 2011 facelift, which subsequently then raised itself to Euro 5 emission standard. Although they got an extra 2 horsepower out of it, what that then means is that you're more restricted in what you can do in terms of mapping. Now this car, you guys can get the same thing I've done. You can get the Euro 4 model remapped to 130 horsepower. And if you've got a Euro 5 model, then you're looking around about 120 bhp, which in itself is still good, but the Euro 4 model, you can just get more out of it. And that's the same thing for the 84 brake horsepower turbo Smart 451. You can also get around about 130 horsepower, which, believe me, when we jump in this in a minute and you feel just how good this is, you'll want to get it done. Now, Big Performance don't just do mapping, they also do things like servicing, MOTs, brake upgrades, manifolds, and if you're brave enough, a hybrid turbo for this car as well. Now, remapping a smart car isn't exactly easy, because in order to get access to the ECU, well, for the gearbox, you've got to lift the front seat up and then remove the ECU from underneath the seat. For the actual engine remap, you need to go in via the boot, remove the panel, open up the ECU itself, plug in some mental Frankenstein pins, which are very sharp, by the way, and then do it that way. So yeah, it's not as easy as plug and play in this car. So yeah, that's another reason why I went to Ian, because, well, he's done loads of them. Yes, this is so good. Oh, wow. Okay, so interesting. There's some interesting points to discuss. This is a transformed car now, genuinely. 3rd gear. Wow. Yeah, this is mega, guys. This is so much different. Oh my God, I can't even. All right, how do I begin to explain? Second gear, here we go. Man, it is nippy now. It really is nippy. Oh my word, this is so much fun. Like, this is so much fun. That 3rd gear. Oh Okay, wow. Now, you're probably thinking, how can I describe this? In fact, let me do a first gear. I'll do a full-on flat launch so you can feel that as well. First gear, here we go. I'm shocked. I am so shocked at how good this car feels now. Now, look, performance is one thing, don't get me wrong. The fact that this is now close to 130 horsepower, probably around 130 horsepower, because as I showed earlier on, this car now has the same map as the one that I overlaid. Yes, I haven't got a dyno to show or prove, but I can prove to you just by the way it feels to drive, guys. It feels so good. It's so much smoother. Like, it feels so much smoother. And now if I just go back into kind of normal driving, because this is where it really transforms for me, because performance is always one thing, but the usability is super important. You can definitely feel those gearbox changes are much quicker. Yes, they're not DSG quick, we're not expecting anything major like that, but Ian has added a 30% increase to the gearbox change, or the gearbox speed change, and it makes a massive difference. The other thing which is so good about this is in the previous map, the stock map, you really had to kind of push that throttle in to get anything out of it, whereas now you just bleed it. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, and now this is where you guys can put a little bit more of a comparison. Now, I might get these numbers wrong, so I'm going to overlay some screenshots here. But the Smart Brabus, this model, Euro 4, standard 98 horsepower, with a curb weight of 770 kilos. That equates to, I think it was, is it 130 brake horsepower per ton? Now, you take an Abarth 595 Competizione, which is 180 horsepower, a curb weight of 1,035 kilograms. That equates to a brake horsepower per ton of 170, I believe. It might be wrong. Now, with this remap on this car, it's transformed it, and with a curb weight of 770 and 130 brake horsepower, this now has a power to weight per ton of 169 brake horsepower, which is 2 bhp less than an Abarth 595 Competizione. Like, if you guys know what a 595 comp feels like, this is what this feels like now. Yes, it's not going to be a mapped comp, but a standard comp. This is what I'm pretty much driving right now. It's bonkers. That's nearly 60. And the other thing that Ian has done to this car now, he's increased the rev limiter. Now, not only do you get power with this remap, but as I said, you also get economy. And the reason for the economy is because I can get into 5th gear at like 30 miles an hour, which means I can drive this car at 1500 RPM, whereas I wouldn't have been able to in the past. It just feels so much smoother. Even the automatic mode feels smoother. It engages the gears much earlier. You're not left kind of hanging onto gears, which I really didn't like, if I'm being completely honest with you. That 0 to 50 is unreal. I mean, because you don't get 60 in second, you've got to get into third, but 0 to 50, it feels so quick, so quick. Drop it down into second again. Second gear, 20 miles per hour, 2,500 RPM, right on boost, foot to floor, bang. I mean, that is much better. Much better. The standard car, the standard map, really runs low boost. It has hardly any boost on it. Whereas now Ian has added more boost. I did ask Ian, what's it running? And he said adequate. That's all you need to know. And adequate it is, flipping Nora. If you have a Smart Brabus, please take it to Ian at Big Performance, because I promise you, you will walk away from that being extremely happy. It's so much fun. There's no other way to say it other than it's just so much fun, and the smile on my face should paint an amazing picture. And if it doesn't, then I'm doing a really bad disservice at how good this map is, because it feels so good, it feels so smooth. It really does feel like the car has just been injected with a whole load of steroids. I love it. I absolutely love it. And now I actually feel that I can actually take this on a bit more of a road trip and not be completely left behind by every man and his dog. Because the other thing that Ian has done, the car on the standard Smart 451s, I just put it into 5th gear, 30 miles per hour, piece of cake. The standard Smart Brabus has a rev limiter of, well, not rev limiter, a top speed limiter of 98 miles per hour. This now has it removed, and if you have the minerals, you could probably take this to 130 miles per hour. I don't think I've got the minerals to do that, if I'm being honest, because this weighs so little, and at that kind of speed with such a short wheelbase, I think it can get quite unstable. But summarizing this map, here we go, look, I get around, bang! It's phenomenal. It's so good. I'm over the moon, over the moon. So massive thank you, Ian from Big Performance, for tuning my Smart Brabus. The gearbox feels so much better now, so much better. Yes, like I said, it's not rapid changes, but it doesn't need to be. It just needed that little bit more, and it does. The downshift's quicker. My word, this thing is nuts. Oh my God. Absolute flipping go-kart. Guys, for the money I've paid for this car, I paid 3 grand for this, or just under 3 grand. Yes, I've spent a bit of money doing it up, you know, restoring it, but what I have right now is nothing short of incredibly fun.